back to my channel. So it looks like Mandy and Maurice finally found somebody to interview them after they said that they were going to interview with Mandy's cousin or brother who had like 300,000 followers. And I guess that fell through and they reached out to me. And I just didn't feel like it was going to be productive. I felt like it was going to be a bash session and they weren't really going to have any real receipts except what we've already been seeing out there. And that is exactly what happened. Everything that I predicted was on point in their interview they did with Gio. So Maurice started off the interview with him pretty much admitting that he scammed Jessica. He's like, yeah, I only got with the girl because I was locked up in prison. I was young. I was trying to give me some coochie. And the only way I could get that is if I got married and I could get conjugal visits. So he claims that is the only reason why he married Jessica. He's like, I didn't see a future with her 20, 30 years down the road from now, so that's why I ended up getting with Mandy. But it's like, if you didn't see a future with her, then why would you even marry the girl? Maurice admitted to cheating on Jessica with other girls prior to hooking up with Mandy. And if I was the interviewer, I would have been like, well, have you cheated on Mandy? Because he was saying all this right in front of her. And I would be thinking that's a red flag, that if he cheated with his first wife and just brags about it like it's nothing and admits to using her, I'd be like, okay, maybe this dude might have some ulterior motives for being with me. He claims that Jessica pretty much pushed him into Mandy's arms because Maurice was on house arrest, so he had to live in California while Jessica was living back in another state with her parents and her son. And Maurice claims that over a year passed by and Jessica did not come to visit him one time or bring his son to come visit him. I do feel like it's important to continue to water a marriage or relationship so it can continue to grow, but I would like to know more details when it comes to that because at the end of the day, Maurice is on house arrest in California and unable to be with his family because of his own accord. His own decisions is what landed him there, and I feel like he should also be making an effort and be willing to help financially to get Jessica and his son over to come visit him. It shouldn't have to all be on her, and that's what they're kind of making it sound like in the interview, like, oh, Jessica never brings his son to come visit us. But Maurice isn't on house arrest anymore. I don't believe so. So why isn't he able to get in the car and go visit his son on his own? And he said that he's not even able to communicate with Jessica because he claims that when he calls, it just like says that the person's unavailable to talk. So it sounds like either she changed her number or blocked him. And he even tried to call her and prove that he's currently blocked. And I feel like, that is something that should definitely change. You shouldn't have your baby daddy blocked. But again, I want to know the circumstances that led up to that. Did he continuously harass Jessica and talk to her like he's talking about her publicly on these different interviews and on his social media? If that was the case, then that might be understandable why she blocked him. But at this point, I feel like she should unblock him if he is blocked, and he needs to stop doing stuff like that and only talk to her if it's about her son, because he should be able to have an open line of communication with his son. He was starting to remind me of Blueface for a while, because when Blueface didn't want to take care of his son, he would continuously act like he wasn't the father. And then when he wanted to get in Krishan's panties, then all of a sudden he'd be like, oh yeah, that's my son. And Maurice is kind of doing something similar to that. He was like, well, she even said that he's not my son, so why is it my responsibility? Because she said that's not my son anyways. And Jessica said that she did not say that. She was in the chat leaving comments, and she said she never told Maurice that he couldn't see his son. She said she wishes that he wasn't the father. That's another thing that pissed me off, because here he is saying, oh yeah, I just got with her and married her so I could get some coochie in prison. Then why did you get her pregnant and bring a child into this mess when you knew you did not want to have a future with her? Like, that is just extremely selfish. And for him, it's easy for him to walk away and live in California with Mandy and just look the other way and ignore the fact that he has a child out here. But at the end of the day, Jessica has to still continue to take care of this child. So it's not like it's hurting him at the end of the day, because he's not sending child support or has a child support order where he has to pay money out of his pocket every month. And Gio even asked him if he was currently paying child support, and he's like, yeah, I sent her all kinds of cash apps. And I would be asking for the receipts, and he did eventually ask for the receipts. And Maurice claims, oh, well, back in the day when I got arrested, one of the cops ended up taking my phone, and he hasn't gave it back. And since he took my phone, I can no longer log into my Cash App, because every time I log in my Cash App, it wants to do like the whole two-factor authentication to make sure that's actually him. And he says that they end up sending like the like code where he has to confirm it's him to his old phone that the police have. And with him saying it like that, that just tells me that he hasn't sent a Cash App in a hot minute, since the last time that you even have any Cash App login was before you got arrested, and no telling which one of the arrests that was before. Mandy the whole time was in the background yelling, and she did not come on the camera, but it felt like she was directing him on what to say, and she said more than he said the whole interview. And she ends up saying, when she was asked about the child support, she's like, why should he pay child support when he doesn't even get to see his son? And yes, I feel like it's important for him to see his son, but at the end of the day, you seeing your son should not be what decides if you're going to take care of your son or not. Like, I would still be sending money to my son every single month and then show the receipts. Look, you're taking care of the son every single month. And Jessica still isn't letting you see the son after a while, then yes, that is on her. But at the same time, I don't blame her for not feeling comfortable letting Maurice and Mandy take off with her child after all the videos we've seen of Maurice nodding off, and especially with driving with a kid in the back seat, and all the times he's been arrested doing different crimes and even arrested with drugs. I would be concerned having my son around that. So if I was her, I'd be like, yeah, you can come see your son at my place, or I can meet you somewhere. If I was Maurice, I would just be like, look, I'm just going to come, or I'm going to have my mother or my family take me, because I can understand where Jessica may have some concerns about meeting up with Maurice when he's with Mandy, knowing how many times they've cussed her out and threatened her in the past. I wouldn't feel safe meeting up with them either, because it's two of them and only one of her. So if I was Maurice, I'd be like, look, I'll come see my son all by myself or with some of my family and get it figured out. But it just felt like Maurice was trying to bash Jessica to take away the fact that he hasn't helped out with his son and excuse it. I'm not saying he hasn't helped out with his son, but it looks like it's definitely been a hot minute since he last did something. And if I'm wrong, then please prove me wrong. But I just feel like it's more about him trying to make Jessica look bad instead of him trying to rebuild his relationship with his son. Because if I was doing an interview, the only thing I would be focused on is making things right with Jessica for my son. Because at the end of the day, the biggest victim in all this is the baby, who is growing up not knowing his father, and seems like his father's not really making too much an effort to change that. Maurice and Mandy kept saying that everyone thinks that Jessica is just this innocent little white girl who doesn't do anything wrong. And they're like, oh, you guys don't even know what type of person Jessica is. And Maurice was telling the story that he's told before, that when Jessica ended up having their son Malik in the hospital, she allegedly had some kind of drugs in her system. So a CPS case was open, and the son was allegedly in the NICU for a few weeks, having to lean off whatever drugs he was on. And Jessica eventually did get to take the son home from the hospital. But I've heard from an outside source that I have to keep anonymous that Jessica is prescribed pain pills because she has some kind of issue with her back or something like that. And it was the pain pills in her system is why Malik had to get leaned off. Because if there's really drugs in his system when she gave birth, they would not let Jessica take that baby home. Jessica has denied this in the past, but I feel like if this was a case, I feel like this is something she's not going to admit to. And even when Maurice was making some claims against Jessica, it seemed like she had a lot to say in the chat, but she wasn't really saying too much about some of the claims that Maurice was making against her, like the claim with her having something in her system when she gave birth. And he also claimed that while he was with Jessica, she ended up nodding off the wheel at some point and ended up like crashing, or I don't even know if he said crashed, or ended up like doing something where she nodded off at the wheel in front of the neighbor's house, and the neighbor had to come knock on his door and say, hey, is that your wife? As she's fell asleep in the car in front of my place, and Maurice had to go out there and wake her up and save her, and he claimed that she was high as hell. But at the same time, it's almost like the pot calling the kettle black, because we have seen Maurice high as hell plenty of times, and we've even seen him post on social media his perk 30s and him bragging about how, oh yeah, my night's over with after this. I just feel like if Maurice feels like she's out here getting extremely high and crashing cars and can't take care of their son, then he needs to make a CPS case. But I feel like he hasn't done that because, one, either he does not want to have to take care of his son full time, or two, he does not have enough evidence to prove these claims that he's making. Maurice also claimed that while he was in prison, I guess Jessica got all his stuff that he had before prison, and he claims he had like over 40 pairs of expensive Jordans and all kinds of nice fancy jeans and t-shirts. And he claims that once he got out of prison, he only had 2 pairs of shoes left, 1 pair of pants, and 1 shirt. And when he asked Jessica what happened to everything, she said she had to sell everything to help take care of it. If you guys have been keeping up with all my videos, a few days ago I made a video talking about Mandy and Maurice after a video got leaked of them in the bedroom pretty much tickling each other's taints and him pretty much doing anal with her. And the video got leaked and Mandy was blaming Jessica, and she even leaked Jessica's phone number and said, hubby gave me the green light since she won't leave us alone. I'll give her a distraction for a while. Y'all blow her up since she wants friends so bad and bumping her gums. And Mandy, you better chill out, because when you send people to harass and you dox people, you will lose your platform so fast doing stuff like that. And apparently a bunch of people ended up reporting her, and she said right now her Moneybag Mandy account's restricted. And then she said, since she loves to send people to follow me around and snap pics, send videos of me and my husband that she had no business doing, y'all have at it. Go snap pics of her, follow her around, catch her picking up from her dope plug, all that, F it. And she says, FYI, that video is so old from when we first got together and she got into my man's Instagram when we were first dating, and she went through our messages and saved that video, which is weird because why would you want to have that in your phone? And they don't have any evidence, but this is what they're claiming, is she's the one that got the video. I still highly doubt it that Jessica's the one sending the video out to people. In January of 2023, Maurice had a court date, and someone was asking about it in one of the Facebook groups, and they're like, hey, do you guys remember, does Maurice have court today? And they're like, yeah, he has court here. And this person was like, hey, I'm in the area, I'm going to go show up and see what's up. So they ended up posting pictures to a Facebook group of what they found, and they saw that Maurice and Mandy were still in the moving truck that they had been riding around in for a while. And they also got some pictures of Mandy and Maurice in court, and they talked about their experience, how they went into the courtroom, they were shocked to see them, and they snuck with their phone real quick and took a few pictures, and then they got nervous and stopped. And Jessica ended up coming across that picture, and I'm sure she did when either someone ended up sending to her, or she came across in one of the groups, or Reddit itself, because I've seen her in multiple Facebook groups, and she ends up sending it to a follower and said, oh look, they're still in the moving truck. And Mandy thinks because she sent that picture to someone else that she's the one that sent the people to come follow her, when those people did it on their own accord. And I think Jessica just got a hold of the pictures and she thought it was funny, so she was sending it to another person and just laughing about it, just like a lot of us do when we see something funny and we want to talk about it with somebody else. But they gotta stop blaming Jessica for every single bad thing that goes on in their lives, or anytime they get any hate, they automatically think it's Jessica's fault. I remember sending the pictures to people when I saw it, and I even made a video about it. So does that mean that I'm the one that sent somebody to come follow them too? You know, that's kind of like the logic that they're using here. And Maurice claimed that, kind of like what Mandy was saying there, Mandy claims that Jessica got into Maurice's Instagram, and Maurice was asked about the video on this interview, and he said, yeah, I don't really mind the videos out there because it shows me hitting it from the back, even though we could clearly see that he has a shrimp package down there. Maurice claims that Jessica hacked his Gmail, so he claims that while he was with Jessica, he ended up logging into his email account off her phone one time, and I guess he never logged out. So once he left, she was able to get back in the account and get into his Instagram, and she found the video allegedly, and he claims that it's all her fault. And he was also dragging Jessica for living off her parents, and he thinks that she's probably going to live with her parents for the rest of her life and she's just too comfortable. And he kept dragging Jessica for asking fans for money to help get diapers for Malik, and he's like, Malik don't even need diapers, he's 3 years old. Well, how do you know? When was the last time you seen him? And have you been helping potty train the boy? I know times are hard, and he lives in California, and he said he's currently not working because he's going to school. And you know the crazy thing is, he was asked why he's going to school, and he said for the bread, for all the grants, you know, the money you get when you go to college. He don't even care about getting the degree and trying to improve his life. He's just trying to get the grants that come along with going to school. And he said that him and Mandy are going to school, that's why they're not working. I know times are hard, and I don't care if it's $5, $50, $500. If he starts sending money to his son every single month, then I would at least have a little bit of respect for Maurice. What really got me is Maurice kept dragging Jessica for asking people for money for diapers for Malik, and he was like, you ain't never seen me or my wife asking for money or trying to use our platform to take advantage of our fans. I was just like, really, Maurice? What about the time when you were posting on your Instagram, and you can go to the Reddit that's about them and even see it because it's the wallpaper photo where he's specifically asking for money, for gas money. And what about the 4 times a year that Mandy acts like her daughter's celebrating her birthday and she's asking for money for gifts, and the GoFundMes they started, and Mandy was like, yeah, we had a GoFundMe, but it shut down after 20 hours. Well, yeah, you didn't shut it down. The GoFundMe decided to shut it down after it was reported so many times because they believed it was fraud. Otherwise, you would have got that money out of people. Maurice claimed that 95% of what we saw on TV with him and Jessica's storyline was fake, and he said most of it was just the producers concocting different storylines and making him do it. And he said that's why the producers didn't want to bring him back for another season, because he wasn't trying to go along with everything they were trying to get him to do. Like the whole scene where he got money from Jessica's dad to borrow to go get her ring. He said that was completely fake. And he was saying that, oh, I don't even care about this TV crap. I can't be a clout chaser because I don't care about being on TV. And then he ended up saying a few minutes later that he was upset that Jessica started speaking out and exposing him because he feels like the producers didn't bring him back because of that. And he was saying, oh yeah, Jessica ruined this for all of us because we could have kept going and made money together. I saw that Jessica ended up responding, and she said that when she did the Where Are They Now segment, that they said they ended up reaching out to Maurice on social media, on his Instagram, and she said that he told her specifically on the phone that he saw the message and he ignored it because he didn't want to do it. And Jessica's like, look, it's not my fault. And WeTV told me they messaged him with no response for him. So they had a chance to make money too and get their story out there. And even Gio asked them about that $1,000 that Cash claimed that Mandy stole. And Mandy's like, oh, let me call my sister. And she called Cash and asked her. And Cash denied it. But we have all the receipts, and the lives are all over the internet where Cash came on live and claimed that Mandy had stole $1,000 from her while they were spending the night on an air mattress at her home, and that she was also messaging her son and begging her son for money. when the son is only 16 years old, and that's just extremely inappropriate because I'm sure a 16-year-old doesn't have much money, and you're going to take the little bit of crumbs that he has as an adult. That just does not sit right with me. And I just feel like the interview was just not really too much an interview, but it was just them getting a platform and taking over his channel for an hour and just spewing out whatever they wanted to say without any pushback. And he was trying to say, oh yeah, you know, I left Jessica before I got with Mandy. It's not like Mandy was coming in and wrecking a happy home. But here are receipts that Jessica leaked a long time ago where he says, I can't believe you left me because I gamed a bitch that is desperate over me and jealous of you for some dollars so I can have a place to stay and lay my head at night. And just like I was assuming at the beginning of the video here that I felt like he may be with Mandy for ulterior motives, just like he said he was with Jessica, here he is pretty much admitting it. He says, I guess you'd rather for me to be in jail on my butt, starving for food and hygiene, but instead I capped a girl out for some money, not with my dick or balls, all words, and you leave me. That's crazy. Should have just told me we're gonna take a break instead. I told you when we got married, if you be my wife, ain't no girl gonna come before you, but you just ain't listen. But, you know, that makes perfect sense, Maurice, that, you know, no other girl is going to come before Jessica, yet you were cheating on her before Mandy even came in the picture, and we're laughing about it in the interview. Another thing I heard Mandy say was like, oh yeah, Jessica says this, she says that, and she's like, oh yeah, Maurice, tell him how you like my cooking, because Jessica says you don't like my cooking. And it's like, who the hell cares? Like, why are you concerned that Jessica says that you don't like his cooking, or you don't like her cooking? You know, at this point, it's just Jessica trolling them, and obviously it's working because it's getting under her skin. And I feel like they just need to learn, like, you guys can throw shots all day long, but you have to learn how to take them back too. And she ended up posting not long after the interview, and she said, I'd like to make a PSA. I would apologize for the way I react and respond to things. I hear about me, so I'd like to say moving forward, please don't send me anything negative from any groups. I don't want to see it, and if you support me, you shouldn't follow the group. Also, moving forward, my page will be positive and drama-free. I did get my vlog hit so I can start making my cooking videos and just different tutorials and day-in-life videos. I want to say I love everyone who loves me, and just because so many people hate me doesn't mean I have to feed into it, but that's why I don't go looking. You know, I think that'd be good for her. We'll see how long this lasts. But I just feel like all this Jessica bashing is not going to get her anywhere. I just feel like they need to step up, figure out a game plan with Jessica to start seeing his son. And even if they can't start seeing their son, at least do something to take care of him and stop bashing her and stop lying so much on social media about stupid little things. And I feel like people wouldn't hate them so much. But at this point, I feel like they've just done so much that it's hard to win back the public liking you again. But you know, there could definitely be room for improvement in what they're doing now. As long as you're trying, that's all that matters at the end of the day, and people will acknowledge that. And you can tell people, look, I'm trying everything in my power and doing everything I can. But right now, he cannot say that when he says, oh, I can't even pull up my Cash App to show you when the last time I sent her money. Meaning that it's been at least months upon months before he sent money, and probably years, probably at least a good year or two. We cannot give you an E for effort, but we can give you an E for excuses. And I just feel like he needs to be doing everything he can to make sure that Malik has the best quality of life possible and try to be there for his son. And I feel like if Jessica is not giving him a chance now, give it a few months, help out, try to be there for your son, and then I think that she'll probably come around to. He was also asked if he's married to Jessica and Amanda, and he said he's married to both of them. So he pretty much admitted to bigamy, and he laughed about it and thinks it's funny, but I still doubt that him and Amanda are married because there's still no marriage certificate out there. And we know Amanda loves to brag that this is my husband, and she tries to claim, oh no, we did like this secret private marriage license so nobody could find out about it. But that doesn't even make any sense, because why would you want your marriage license private when you love to flex everything and you're telling everybody that you're married anyways. It just does not make any sense whatsoever to me. I felt like they weren't going to have any life-changing receipts like they kept teasing, and that's exactly what happened. It seemed like all the receipts they showed were all hearsay of people saying, oh yeah, I talked to her, she said this, with not any proof, or it seemed like they just copy and pasted receipts from Facebook groups or Reddit. And I really don't care about any more receipts unless they have some receipts to show and them help take care of Malik. Even if his Cash App is broken down, you can figure out other ways. There's PayPal, there's Facebook Pay, there's Zelle, there's Apple Pay. If there's a will, there's a way, baby. That is it for this video, guys. Gosh, I did not expect this video to be that long. But let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. Check out my lashes and cosmetics at AccordingtoAmber.com. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.